Northwest Now is supported, in part, by viewers like you. Thank you.
She is an international opera star, Janae Bridges, winner of 3 Grammy Awards and owner of a passport with more stamps than your local post office. You might think this mezzo-soprano wonder hails from New York or Los Angeles, but nope, she was born right here in Tacoma and raised in Lakewood. Janae Bridges is next on Northwest Now. Janae Bridges has performed Carmen, one of the most demanding parts there is in opera, in Chicago, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Detroit, New York, Spain, Germany, Canada, Seattle, the Netherlands, and Italy. And she's been all over North America and the world in a number of other productions too. Frankly, if I recited all of Janae's awards, performances, and rave reviews, we wouldn't have any time for the interview, so let's get right to it. Janae, thanks so much for coming to Northwest Now. It is not every day, I got to tell you, we have an international opera star coming here to Northwest Now, but it's so great that you're doing this here on your home television station of KBTC Public Television, and we're honored to have you. I would say that in the 14 years I've been doing Northwest Now, you're probably the biggest star we've had on.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty cool. First question, you got to settle a bet out there, I'm sure. Tacoma or Lakewood, who gets to claim you?
That's a tough one. I mean, okay, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be home. Tacoma or Lakewood? Well, I was born in Tacoma.
Okay.
And then in 1996, I believe, Lakewood was incorporated. So I have to say both. I'm sorry. I know that's not the answer you want, but really both.
So your next career is politics, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. How do people in your hometown treat you? Do they treat you with awe? Like, wow, here comes Janae Bridges. Or are you like, I know that girl. I remember when you were out playing basketball. So don't you tell me, how do they treat you? How is it being in your hometown when you come back?
It's honestly a mixture. When I come home, people are first just so grateful that I'm back. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're back home, because I live out east. So anytime I'm back home, it's just a love fest. And then there are some people that I look at them and I'm like, are you okay? And then I realize, oh, they're kind of in shock because I guess I do have the Grammys and I have the stars.
Isn't that little Janae? Wasn't that, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
And you probably still call people Mr. So-and-so and Mrs. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. No accolades will, stop me from being a hometown girl.
Yeah, that's great. Talk to me a little bit about being a basketball player. There's a video out there on the internet I was watching, and you can hoop. Just so people know, yeah, she's an opera singer, but I have a sneaking suspicion you could have possibly played ball. Talk a little bit about that. What did you get from sports that kind of applied to opera? I read something you read that there's some things you get from it, teamwork and some other stuff. Talk a little bit about your hoops career and how and what carried over.
Absolutely. I mean, I've played basketball since a very young age, started at the YMCA, then in middle school and high school at Charles Wright Academy, and I learned so much that, first of all, the discipline that it takes to excel in sports and in what I do as an opera singer. They're very similar regimens. I mean, hours and hours of, well, we did this at the hoop, just simple. And in the practice room, it's singing a scale, working on my breath over and over, and making mistakes in the practice room so that when you get out on the court or the opera stage, the audience will never know. And you perform in a way that you don't really have to think about the technique. Mm-hmm. You don't have to think about so much about what has gone into it, because
you're flowing.
It's been done and you're flowing.
Yeah.
And it's very similar in that way. And also, learning it's okay to make mistakes. On the basketball court, I would lose a game sometimes. Similarly, when singing opera, it doesn't always go the way that you've planned. You do the best that you can do, but you might forget a word or crack a high note or something, and you have to recover quickly and not dwell on that. The game has to keep going. The opera has, the show
Sure.
goes on.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, I don't think that's really emphasized enough. Learning, it's okay. Knowing it's okay to make a quote unquote mistake, you have to keep going. And then after the game is over, after the show is over, say, okay, what happened and how can I be better for the next time?
But short memory.
But short memory.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't dwell on those mistakes because then it gets into your head and that's kind of a recipe.
And let's
for
face it,
disaster.
opera too is a bit of an athletic event. I mean,
Absolutely.
you can have an on night where you're like, man, I just killed that. And you probably have off nights too.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we're human, but it is very athletic in that sense. And, you know, as an opera singer, we sing unamplified. We don't use microphones. So our body, our full body is our instrument, and that takes a lot of strength.
Yeah.
So I work out still. I do, you know, shoot around whenever I can, but working out and being strong is essential just as an athlete.
When did you start singing? And do you remember having kind of an aha moment where you said, you know something? I used to kind of like singing. It was fun to do. It was kind of a hobby. Where did that transition to, hey, I think I have a future in this? Do you remember that moment at all? Or?
I do. Well, I grew up singing in the church, Allen AME Church in Tacoma, and age of 5, I think. So, and watching my father, he sings in the male chorus of the church for 40 years now. And so music was always in my blood, always in my bones. I grew up listening to Motown and different types of music. And I played classical piano from a young age. I think 5 I started playing piano. But it wasn't until high school, really, I joined the choir, and my teacher, Julie Kangas, she kind of noticed that I had a special gift and suggested that I, you know, hone in on that. And I took private voice lessons very late in high school. I think it was the end of my junior year or maybe even beginning of my senior year. And I just fell in love with it. And really the aha moment that I knew that I had a gift was when I came home one day after a voice lesson and I popped, we recorded 4 songs, for audition tape. And we put the CD in the CD player, and my whole family, we were surrounded and we listened to the playback, and we all were just like, wow, that's my voice. And for the first time I heard my voice. I mean, because when I'm singing, you don't really hear it in the same way as it coming back to you.
But you became a believer.
I became a believer,
Yeah.
and we all were kind of surrounded by each other, tearing up in amazement. And I thought, wow, I think I have something.
I know you could go for a long time on this, but just give me a quick hit on your parents exposing you to music, exposing you to sports. You know, I'm sure you credit them with a lot. Talk a little bit about the role they played in developing your gifts plural, growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know everybody says this, but I have the best parents in the world. My mother is always a teacher, and so she could identify the gifts in all of her children. And my father is extremely musical, so I like to credit my gift of music to him. But they dedicated and dedicate still their lives to just supporting their children and the gifts that we all individually have. And so I'm just so grateful because there's been no mistakes in my life. I really feel like everything that my parents have poured into me and exposed me to has been a build-up to who I am and what I'm doing. I mean, between the traveling, my father was in the military, and I was exposed to traveling at a very young age. And
adapting to new places and new people, and
exactly.
new friends.
And as an opera singer, I'm traveling every few months to different cities, different countries. So for me, it's in my blood and it's normal. And then also hearing different languages. I grew up hearing my parents kind of call each other these different sweet names like Schatzi, which means sweetheart in Germany because they met in Germany. So it's kind of really all a full circle moment in my sports background. Opera is athletic, and having siblings that are so supportive. I mean, when I think about it and articulate it, it's just, I'm so grateful because
Okay.
They were setting me up for success when I didn't even know it.
Don't get weepy on me over there.
I'm trying not to.
Talk a little bit too, briefly about it takes a village. I want to talk a little bit about your supporters. I've just kind of got a list here: College Success Foundation, Tacoma,
Yes.
Seattle Theater Group, Music at the Moore, Tacoma Opera, Charles Wright Academy, your voice teachers, NAACP, AXO, AME Church, Youth Usher Board, YPD, Children's Choir. I mean, my gosh.
Wow.
There's a lot of people who can claim a little piece of Janae.
That's true. And you did your research. I love hearing that. Yeah, I mean, my village it runs so deep. I have aunties and uncles and cousins and as you mentioned, all of these amazing organizations, the Links, and Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. So many people have supported me and continue to support me. And former Mayor Victoria Woodards, who bestowed upon me the key to the city. I mean,
yeah.
This to me, coming back to my home, is really, for me, it's a thank you. It's a thank you to all of these organizations, all of my village that have poured into me, because I really believe that I would not be here without them.
Flip side of that, you sense all this, you have that sense of history, you represent a diverse community, all the hopes and dreams here. Is there a lot of pressure? Are you enjoying the trip?
I am enjoying the trip. I mean, honestly, I have to say, basketball set me up for not taking in all that pressure. Okay. Yes, there are pressurized moments, but I breathe through it, Yeah. And it's like, if I think about it and I kind of think about it too much, then it does become a little bit overwhelming. But honestly, my background and spirituality keep me grounded, and I know that I'm made for this. And yeah.
When did you turn from singing into hardcore, I'm going to get training for opera, specifically as an art form? Where did you go for that? Talk briefly about your trip through the opera world.
Yes, well, when I found this love of singing, I thought, wow, I'm going to audition for conservatories around the country, some local and, some not. And I ended up being accepted into Manhattan School of Music in New York City. And so I went 3,000 miles away across country to New York with very little training, and I just dove right in. That's kind of just my personality. I remember that first sing through.
You didn't know you couldn't do it.
Right, correct. But when I got there, I have to say I was a little bit intimidated.
Oh, yeah.
Because the students my colleagues had been singing their whole lives in training. And I thought, wow, I don't like being at the so-called bottom of the totem pole. So I really worked hard. New York was my playground, and I was always at Carnegie Hall and the Met Opera, jazz clubs, and the cheap seats of all of these incredible halls. And I worked really hard, and I ended up graduating with the highest honors. And it's just surreal because I'm actually being awarded, or not awarded, I don't know what the term is, but I'm getting an honorary doctorate from my alma mater.
Nice.
In a couple months, Manhattan
Nice.
School of Music. And really, my senior year there is where I thought, okay, I really want to pursue this, because then I was admitted into the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia, and that's extremely competitive. I think they accept 25 students a year. So once I got into that, I thought, all right, I'm going to go for it. And then I started doing competitions and winning international competitions, and went to the Ryan Center, which is a young artist program at the Lyric Opera of Chicago, also extremely competitive and selective. And I knew I was working on my craft, but to be recognized and awarded was just confirmation of the hard work and
to keep getting picked for the next thing.
Exactly. And my love, at the end of the day, my love for this art form and for expanding what it looks like,
And what's nice is with that doctorate, you can teach someday when you get sick and tired of living out of a suitcase.
Exactly.
So,
Which I love, by the way. I love teaching. So
talk a little bit about being a mezzo-soprano. Where does that sit on the vocal range? And does that, it seems to me, where it sits and what little I know about opera, that would you're pretty versatile, which maybe opens up a lot of parts. But talk to me, educate me a little bit on that.
Yeah, so there are different voice types. I'm a mezzo-soprano, which is a lower voice type, but we also sing high. So like you said, there's versatility in my voice type. I can sing roles that are lower, Carmen sits a little bit lower and she kind of pops up to high notes every once in a while. I can also sing higher roles, but at the end of the day, a mezzo-soprano, we don't tend to sing and stay in our higher register. We kind of are in the middle of our voice, sing lower, and you'll hear some high notes from time to time. Sopranos, they tend to
live up there.
Live up in
Yeah.
their higher registers. And for the male voices, it's tenor, and they're the higher voices of the men, and basses are the low, old man river type voices. So, and then you have countertenors, which they have higher voices, but are usually in the male physique.
But the bottom line is your voice is kind of sitting in the sweet spot.
Exactly.
To me,
Yeah. And also, mezzos tend to have really long careers because we sing anywhere from pants roles, which are young boys, to old ladies, you know. So the voice develops over time and it ages. And I would like to say that I'm kind of in my prime of my vocal trajectory, but I can keep singing for at least 20 more years. And there's so many roles that will fit my voice depending on the maturity of it.
Yeah. You've talked about the healing power of music. And we're at a point in this country where we need some healing.
Yes.
And we need some unifying. Talk
Absolutely.
a little bit about what music means from that perspective and what your perspective is on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that music, specifically the voice, an unamplified voice, is the ultimate vessel to deep healing. It's the first, I mean, the voice is the first thing we hear when we're born. We cry when we're born. And I've done a lot of music therapy going into nursing homes. And when people, they don't necessarily remember things, they feel music. It's about feeling. And the voice evokes a very deep feeling. And I think that you hit the nail on the head. We are in a very tough position and moment in our country and world. And I think that music has the ability to make people feel better, but also to heal and also make them think about their position in our world. And my job as an artist is to hopefully evoke emotion and evoke, I want people to leave the theater, yes, feeling better, feeling a release, and also thinking about these themes of the operas. Carmen has a ton of themes that are very relevant today. Domestic violence, love, anger, and what we do with these emotions, and how do we, at the end of the day, heal ourselves so that we can bring healing to the world.
You've done Carmen in a lot of different venues, Seattle, New York, you know, a variety of places. Speaking generically about that opera, why is it considered so demanding? Do you find it demanding, or do you kind of just boom right through it?
Well, it is demanding. I mean, it's a difficult sing, actually. I mean, people might not necessarily think that because they recognize the tunes, the habanera, the toreador song, but the pacing of the role that I sing, Carmen, it's quite difficult, because if you sing too much, if you give too much emotion too soon, there's nowhere to go. So it's all about emotional and vocal pacing. And then, again, it's kind of like a team sport. You have to collaborate with many different players. So there's the conductor, there's your colleagues on stage, there's the whole world of the costuming, which you have to know how to handle.
Heavy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's just the storytelling. I mean, that's the most beautiful part, in my opinion, about what I do. It's telling a story, and that takes a lot of intention, a lot of rehearsal, and a lot of really delving deep into the character.
Let's talk a little bit about the future here in our last 5 minutes. Movie star Timothy Chalamet, as you know, recently took some heat for, saying he didn't want to be in a dying art form. I think he was kind of deliberately misinterpreted to some point, because I think what he was trying to say is that a lot of these fine arts, the audience is aging out. The donor class is aging out, and we have to find something new to hold on to continue to grow the sport or grow the art or whatever it may be. How do you see that? How does bringing opera to other communities fit into that? And how do you get young people who are just here doing this, TikTok, it lasts 30 seconds and their attention is done. How do you get them into opera? What are your, I know if you had the answer to that, you'd be a billionaire.
I would be.
But what is your thinking on that?
Well, when he said that, yes, it sparked a lot of outrage, and I was pretty offended. But then I thought, well, if he's thinking that way, there are probably many other people that think that way. So, who I am, yes, I'm a singer, I'm an artist, I love what I do. On top of that, I am a huge advocate for expanding the art form, and I always have been. And I think, looking at me, I walk down the street, people don't necessarily automatically think that I'm an international opera star. So why don't they think that? It's because they haven't seen that, and what they have in their mind is completely different. So I think visibility, number one, is essential. So, for instance, you having me here, thank you so much. It is crucial for people to see themselves and also to hear their stories being told. New stories are being told, which is really great.
But can opera make it on TikTok?
I think opera can.
Okay.
We just have to definitely be innovative. And look, technology, the socials are not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. So we have to evolve. And I think a lot of that is on us as artists, as on organizations, to say, okay, we have to get with the times, and we have to do things a little bit differently. We have to show faces on billboards that are starring in shows and that look different than possibly what they have been. In addition, it doesn't mean erase, what has been traditional.
But diversifying that
diversifying.
Exposure. Yeah.
And it really excites me, because to me that just gives us a lot of opportunity, really. And what better time to do that than now,
When you look out at the audience from the various shows you do, I know you do some things, for recording specifically, but when you're in a venue at a theater or a performance hall, do you see any young people at all, any young couples who maybe got a babysitter for the kid, or are they all a bunch of old people like me sitting in there with their wife?
I absolutely do. I see young people coming, and there are efforts that companies are making to reach out to younger demographics and more diverse demographics. So the efforts are being made, but it's not something that I think should just be kind of like a box ticked, like you know what I'm trying to say? Yes, a box ticked. It has to just be the norm, and it should have always been that way, but it hasn't been, and so now we just have to continue to publicize and make opera and classical music cool, because it actually really is.
And find a new donor base.
And expand the donor base for sure, because there are people that want to contribute. They just don't necessarily sometimes feel welcomed. And so there's that aspect as well.
Okay.
It's like, why should I contribute? Give me a reason. And so I think that we have to do that, and there are plenty of reasons to do that.
Last 45 seconds for you. What is left? I mean, you've climbed such a mountain. To me, it seems like you're pretty close to the top of that mountain, but everybody always kind of feels like you've got a new goal. What is the mountain that you look up at and say, I wouldn't mind climbing that? What is next for you?
Wow. Well, it's fun that you're asking this, because I won my 3rd Grammy recently. So I thought about that, and I was like, wow, what else is there? Well, there's so much. I want to collaborate. I want to cross-genre collaborate. John Batiste, perhaps, Chris Martin, maybe, who knows. But also, I love film. You know, I'm a singing
Okay.
actress, so why not tap into that? I mean, there are plenty of artists that have started with, you know, an art form and they've expanded.
Yeah,
I look at
and
Audra,
soundtracks
Audra
and-
McDonald, for instance. Yeah, soundtracks and even Rihanna. I mean, she started with music and now she's in makeup and fashion. I love fashion.
Okay.
So, you know, who knows? A gown
So-
line maybe one day, or
We need to keep
children's books. You never know.
We need to keep an eye on you, in other words.
Absolutely, yes.
Janae, thanks so much for coming to Northwest Now. Great honor to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be home.
The old cliche headline is "Local Kid Done Good." It's used to describe a local resident who achieves national or international fame. The bottom line, that headline is just a fact in the case of Janae Bridges, and I hope you take the time to seek out her performances live on social media or streaming on the web. My thanks to Janae Bridges for coming to Northwest Now. I also want to add my thanks to all the artists and authors who have appeared on Northwest Now over the course of the past 14 years. I hope this program got you thinking and talking. You can find this program on the web at kbtc.org, stream it through the PBS app, or listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. That's going to do it for this edition of Northwest Now. Until next time, I'm Tom Layson. Thanks for watching.